Hey, how's it going, universe? Welcome to another episode of Zoobox Goes to the Movies. This week, we're going to be talking about the 2002 film, The 25th Hour.
You can't see me being a father?
No. Well, I could see you fathering children. I couldn't see you raising any.
I would raise my own chalupas.
Well, we're definitely not having any kids together if you're going to be calling them chalupas.
It's probably your mother.
You have the worst timing ever.
Montgomery broken in? I'm Agent Flood with the Drug Enforcement Administration.
Directed by Spike Lee, written by David Benioff, based on a novel that he also wrote. He adapted his own novel of the same name, 25th Hour. It stars Edward Norton, Barry Pepper, Rosario Dawson, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, Tony Devon, Isaiah Whitlock, cameo by Patrice O'Neal, and others. The logline plot synopsis is, cornered by the DEA, convicted New York drug dealer Montgomery Brogan reevaluates his life in the 24 remaining hours before facing a 7-year jail term.
We haven't talked about this at all. You know, this is our last night.
No, it's not our last night. My last night.
I wanna hold you, but my hands are tied.
Years from now, you gather your family together, you tell them the whole story. Who you are, where you come from. And then you ask them if they know how lucky they are to be there.
This will be the best night of my life. Best night of my life.
And to help me do that, past and future guest Dan Prophet has returned.
Cheers.
It's kind of like a series. Last time we got together, we talked about Spike Lee's seminal film, Do the Right Thing. And we had, during the very long podcast, we talked about the 25th Hour briefly, and we thought it would be a great follow-up to that conversation. So we wanted to get into it. So, Dan, 25th Hour. What's your personal history with this? Did you see this when it came out?
Not directly when it came out. This was shown to me. Someone told me that I reminded them of Ed Norton in the scene where he's cursing everyone out in the mirror.
Fuck the Wall Street brokers. Self-styled masters of the universe. Michael Douglas, Gordon Gekko wannabe motherfuckers figuring out new ways to rob hardworking people blind.
The mirror, yeah.
And I decided that I needed to see what that was all about. I watched the movie when I lived in Boston. I'd say probably 2012. I don't know. I can't remember the timeline very well, but I was immediately struck with like the sort of crime noir thing that it was going on. I didn't expect that from Spike Lee. It was a much more mature movie than I had remembered from Spike Lee. I mean, obviously, Do the Right Thing is a fantastic movie, and the other one that I love from Spike Lee is Bamboozled. But to see a movie like The 25th Hour, I was kind of taken aback at the way that he was handling the subject matter with like a less heavy-handed approach than we had before. I think that's one of the reasons that people kind of don't pay as much attention to this movie, is because it's very understated. There's a lot going on, but he's letting it happen. He's really not forcing it down your throat.
Yeah, and this was, I think this is the first time there was a script that he did not write. He had no hand in the script. I mean, beyond the guidance of a director, and then Ed Norton as a producer had his input into his character and stuff like that. But David Benioff, who became famous later in life as one of the showrunners of Game of Thrones. He's one of the guys behind the Game of Thrones show. Yeah, he adapted the script himself. And even when they started filming this, they started prepping it like it was before September 11th, and they incorporated it into the movie. And then Benioff went back into his book and put the stuff from the movie back into the book, into the novel. So if you were to buy it now, it more closely resembles actually the movie, which I thought was interesting. But my personal history I saw this actually back in like 2002 when it came out. I didn't know. Back then I didn't know who the fuck really Spike Lee was, per se. It was just like the new Edward Norton movie, because Edward Norton was kind of a thing at the time, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like his star was on the rise. So I had enough of an awareness because I was more into actors at the time that I wanted to see the new Edward Norton movie, and I was really too young, I think, to really grapple with like what was going on. I really I enjoyed the movie, I suppose, just on a kind of a visceral, superficial level. But and then I saw it again, like probably a decade later. It had been like probably about 10 years since I had actually sat down and like watched the 25th Hour, and my takeaway from it, like being an adult, is probably my favorite Spike Lee movie. And I've been watching a lot of Spike Lee movies lately. I think this one really holds up.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's like set specifically right after September 11th, it has a timeless quality to it. Like you doesn't feel like of an era. It just feels like it's like a timeless story, you know?
Yeah, well, because he's not making the movie about September 11th. September 11th is a thing that has happened in the story that's playing as a background allegory to all the things that are happening in these people's lives. This idea of a permanent change, like an inescapable change from an event that you can't go back and correct. And they're never... even in the scene when Jacob and Francis are talking to each other in front of Ground Zero, they're never like making a huge deal out of it. It's just part of their conversation. They're talking about how, don't you think the fumes will get you? And Francis is like, oh, that man, I pay a lot for this apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
New York Times says the air's bad down here.
Oh, yeah? Well, fuck the Times. I read the Post. EPA says it's fine.
Somebody's lying.
Yeah.
You gonna move?
Fuck that, man. As much good money as I pay for this place? Hell no. Tell you what, Bin Laden could drop another one right next door. I ain't moving.
And they're never going into some, soliloquy about the firefighters or whatever.
No, it's a very soft touch, but that stuff's in part of the fabric because it's part of the city, right? Like,
but there will be quiet cuts to a picture of a dead firefighter in the bar that Montgomery's father owns. Real quick, not attention drawn to it. Something if you're a quick casual viewer, you'll just pick up as part of the atmosphere of the movie. But the emotions about these things are coming through in the characters and who they are now as a result of the past and as a result of what's to come in the future. And all of them are dealing with either one or several consequences of something that's going to change them or has changed them forever. And so 9/11 is like playing in the background as a punctuation to all that happens to people individually and civilizations.
Yeah, exactly. I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said it's this irrevocable change. Like you cannot go back from that event. Just like in all the characters, in some way, are dealing with a microcosm of that kind of reality. And it ends up. And the crazy thing about it was when they started filming, there's actually shots that they started shooting this before it happened. So actually, during the rant scene, when Edward Norton's looking in the mirror and he starts talking about his dad. His dad's at the bar drinking the seltzer water, and you see all the firefighters behind him. All of those firefighters died at 9/11, like a month after they shot that.
Wow.
Yeah. It gave me chills when I read that. I was like, oh my god, because the first time I watched it in preparation, I didn't know that, and then I did a bunch of research and watched it again throughout the day today, and I was like, ooh, like it's like. You really feel the specter of it even more. And it's just something that's like happenstance. It's kind of like it's a weird confluence of events that adds this extra layer to the movie that it doesn't need to be there to work, but it adds this texture to it that is really it puts it over the top. It makes it something really special.
Yeah, it adds a really silent, stoic punctuation to this idea, like the opening credits, where it's just the memorial lights that went up after the towers were knocked down. that are just like beaming into the sky, and it has that like thunderous score that was done by Mr. Terrence Blanchard, whose name I remember to write down. The score of this movie is so chilling, and
it's subtle and beautiful, and like perfectly punctuates like certain like these moments of melancholy. And this is a guy who's worked with Spike ever since basically Jungle Fever in 1991, and he's done, I think, almost every Spike Lee movie up to this point. But yeah, like it really just like, and I think that probably that melancholy, I don't know if it would, it's interesting. I do think it would have been as melancholy without like September 11th happening.
Absolutely not. I think that that plays into the entire theme here of things being changed and not being able to go, but like even the production of this film changed by the event of September 11th, so much so that it is woven into the texture and fabric of the movie. I think that it actually, Spike Lee was clever enough to realize that he had a moment here.
Well, that's what I mean about this maybe being Spike Lee's like finest moment.
Yeah.
Like, because like he had the werewolf, because Spike Lee often, as much as I like Spike Lee, like, you know, he can be kind of clumsy, kind of messy.
Very in your face.
Very in your face, very overt. This really plays it very low key. It's like very subtle. There's nothing really shoved in your face about anything, any aspect of the movie. And it's probably his most nuanced work as a director, because he wasn't exactly a director for hire, but I think like I would like to see Spike Lee direct more movies that he didn't write. You know what I mean? Like, because I think if this is an example of what he can accomplish, just being able to kind of look at a story completely objectively, just as like a storyteller, like how do I like do this and infuse some of myself in there? Because while it does have those things and it is the most like nuanced Spike Lee movie, it still feels like a Spike Lee movie. Like he still is able to maintain his sense of like authorship over it.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that makes Spike Lee's movies suffer sometimes is that he has he approaches, well, Puff Daddy's on my mind because we might be doing a little Puff Daddy segment later on, but he approaches his films the way Puff Daddy approaches his music videos. Like Puff Daddy, he used to talk about how he would envision his shitty songs as he was recording them. He would envision the shitty music videos that went along with them. And I think that Spike Lee gets really into the way things are going to look and the way things are going to feel on screen. And he doesn't often pump the brakes on his writing. Sometimes he doesn't need to. Sometimes I think the writing suffers from it. But that's not for me to say. He's the brilliant director, not me. But in this particular movie, he knows exactly all the notes to hit and all the parts to hit the brakes and all the parts to hit the accelerator. And I think that just comes from, I mean, he had been making films now for like, well, almost 2 decades at that point, or a decade and a half, right?
About 15 years, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it probably helped that he had, like you said, he had somebody come in and somebody else had done all the writing, and he could focus more on the aesthetic and the characters, which is really his strength.
Which is something like teaming up with somebody like Ed Norton. Ed Norton famously is very involved in the projects that he works on. He was not just an actor, he was a producer on this. Apparently he dumped all of his money that he made on Red Dragon. If anybody remembers Brett Ratner's Red Dragon from the early 2000s, when they tried to relaunch the Hannibal Lecter thing, like try to make it an actual like franchise. Edward Norton was the star of that. Go watch Manhunter instead, everybody. Go watch Michael Mann's Manhunter, which also stars Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter.
Don't think you can persuade me with appeals to my intellectual vanity.
I don't think I'll persuade you at all. You'll either do it or you won't. Besides, we have Dr. Bloom working on it, and he's the best.
Do you have the file with you?
Yes.
Pictures?
Yes.
Let me have them and I might consider it.
You may disagree, but that is my nominee for secret MVP in this movie, but we can talk about that later.
Brian Cox? Actually, no, I totally agree with you. That was mine too. Brian Cox or Isaiah Whitlock Jr.?
Shit. Mr. Brogan, I do believe you're fucked.
Shit.
Now, my question with that is, didn't he do that same thing on like The Wire?
He does it in everything.
Okay, so that's just part and parcel of
But
hiring
this
that.
was before The Wire.
Oh, okay, all right. So
This is before it's like almost like became a meme before it was a meme. But yeah, but it was popularized because of The Wire. Yeah.
Actually, well, that actor in particular, he is so evil and beady-eyed and confident. Oh God, what a terrible villain! And like all things in this movie, he only shows up in what, like 2.5 scenes or something.
Two major scenes. Yeah.
They don't beat you over the head with this dude. He's so potent when he's on screen that you remember. And
yeah, because it's like slightly larger than life, but it also feels very real. Like it feels like that's like the thing I like this about a lot of Spike Lee movies. Like there is a recognizable aspect of every single person in most of his movies. Like that guy, you've met somebody like that, and you kind of project a little bit onto the characters, like, and it personalizes it for you. Even somebody like that, you get that sense of like the smarmy fuck that knows he's in control. Like I've worked for people like that. I've worked for assholes like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Who would say shit like that to you? That would be like, "Oh shit, looks like you're working late, buddy."
Must be the patent. The whole thing about the couch, and like they make the big deal about, man, this is a really comfortable looking couch, but it just is so lumpy.
This sofa's not very comfortable.
Maybe it's your posture. Your posture is very important.
No, it's this Castro convertible. It's very uncomfortable. It's kind of lumpy. I just don't understand it. It looks like such a nice sofa. How much did you pay for this sofa, Miss Rivera? Maybe it's the padding.
Booyah! Could be the padding.
Yeah. Probably the padding.
Must be the patent. That whole exchange is like, I had, it's one of my favorite little scenes. I had this promo planned for the last IZA album that was like a shot-for-shot recreation of that scene with the band members playing all the parts.
Oh, and you pull out your new album?
Yeah, and then at the end, instead of pulling out the cocaine, they just pull out like stacks of the new album, and I think it was like Randy would be like, "Shit,"
yeah, holding up like 3 copies. Shit,
yeah.
Hard cut to black, IZA available now.
I think I remember throwing like a soft pitch of that to Chris, and I think he was like, "I've never fucking seen that movie. Like, I have no idea what you're talking about."
Well, that would have been amazing. Honestly, that's perfect. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So any band out there that's putting out a new record or something, you can go ahead and put your stamp on that. It's yours.
Yeah.
There's like this movie has a lot of iconic moments for a movie that isn't really
being so understated.
I would say really not that well known or not as popular. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. Like, I know critics really loved it. Actually, Roger Ebert was a big champion of this movie. He really loved this movie, and it was again ignored by the Academy. Didn't get nominated for anything. The movies that got nominated that year were like Chicago the musical, The Pianist by Roman Polanski, and The Hours. All these movies that like nobody remembers.
Polanski got the nominated.
Yeah, that's when Roman Polanski got a standing ovation by everybody in Hollywood. For winning Best Director. Yeah. Meryl Streep up there, just sick bitch. Let me tell you.
I wish I could be as rich and powerful as them to afford as much foreskin facial cream so that I could look that good at the Academy Awards. But anyway, yeah, fuck the Academy. They don't obviously know a good thing when they see her, or else they would have given Spike Lee a fucking award back in 1989. Another summer.
honestly, like, it is one of those times where you're just like, maybe they are a bunch of racist old white people. Like, because, like, he's got such a prolific career in the 90s. I mean, because I've been going back and watching them all. Like, from Do the Right Thing to 25th Hour, it's like a fucking, every movie is a home run. Every movie is great. I mean, you may like some more than others, but, like, every single one is deserving.
Something tells me that old Spike doesn't rub elbows behind the scenes as good as, like, say,
Exactly.
Quentin Tarantino or somebody like that does.
Well, but that's very true, though. He doesn't. And that's what actually wins you
Good for
awards.
him. Good for you, Spike. Don't rub their fucking elbows.
Not unless you're in France and you're doing the Palme d'Or or something like that. Then he's all about it. But yeah, it is like you said. It's a kind of an underknown movie. Like, not a lot of people talk about the 25th Hour. I even looked on YouTube, just in the interim between when we were going to do this before and now, just looking for, like, oh, what do people think about the 25th Hour? Like, I didn't really know what the cultural beat on it was, and there's like nothing. It's like YouTube is like a desert of 25th Hour content.
Yeah.
Like, and I was kind of shocked because I was like, there are so many things to dissect about this movie. If you really wanted to, you could go scene for scene. There's always something, like, prolific happening. Something,
Well,
like,
you know, you won't get as many clicks as if you ask if Mookie did the right thing.
that's true. We should say, did Montgomery do the right thing?
No, no, he didn't.
Did James Brogan do the right thing? No, actually, I'm going to title this, did they get off on the exit?
Oh, and that's the other wonderful thing. My boneheaded ex who introduced me to this movie also was completely hung up on the ambiguity of the ending, and it always left a sour taste in my mouth because she was like insistent that the ending was supposed to be ambiguous. Like, and I'm like, well, it doesn't seem ambiguous to me.
No, he goes to jail.
But yeah, and so, like, that's like the boneheaded, caved-in head Wojak interpretation of the end of the movie. It was like, did he even go? Did he go to jail, or did he go to the out west? And it's like, well, the point of this movie, the underlying theme is an inescapable change that you can't get away from.
Exactly. And
I
honestly,
think that there are hints that give away that he does go to jail, but yeah.
well, I think, like, it's also, in my opinion, it is the moment that makes Brian Cox the secret MVP. It is actually heartbreaking because that is a man's father trying to comfort his son.
Yes.
And tell his son that I can fix this, like he does when they're having dinner.
I talked to Sal.
Oh, Dad, come on.
See if you can help with that.
Dad, guy's been out of the picture for 20 years.
He still knows people.
Like, he brings it up. He's like, oh, I'm going to talk to this guy I know. Maybe we can work something out. When he knows he can't, but he just wants to say it because he doesn't want to feel impotent and he doesn't want to feel like he can't help his son. And that whole relationship, you don't get a lot of it, but you just get enough to know, like, the sadness that was there. When they lost his mother, he becomes an alcoholic. His father understands that. Like, I fucked this up for you.
This should never have happened. You could have been, if you wanted money, you could have done anything you wanted. Doctor, lawyer.
Don't lay that on me.
That's all I'm saying.
Don't lay that on me. I mean, when Sal and his crew were squeezing you for the payments, I didn't hear you wishing I was a law school student then. Not one word from you back then. Where'd you think that money was coming from? Donald Trump?
That was a mistake.
Well, let's just forget it then.
There were lots of mistakes. I should have stopped drinking when your mother
Oh,
passed.
please don't do this.
11-year-old boy with a dead mother and a drunk father. You know, I got no one to blame but
Oh,
myself.
stop.
And it is heartbreaking. I was just thinking about it, Dan. Like, I was just like, the scene was on, and I was just like, I had to walk over to the kitchen to do so. I started getting choked up. I was just like, because I started thinking about, like, the implications of doing that.
Right.
Like, as a man, as a father, like, being in that situation, and not only being in that situation, but knowing you are partly responsible for it. And that's, like, another theme, and this is something that Spike Lee does a lot. It's a lot about, sometimes it is about this generational thing, this generational responsibility. Be there for your fucking kids. Be a dad. Like, it's like, that's a big part of Do the Right Thing. and and he threads that here, and it was so beautiful and so heartbreaking. Like, it really just broke my fucking heart.
Give me the word and I'll take a left turn. Left turn to where? Take the GW bridge and go west. Get you stitched up somewhere and keep going. Find a nice little town. On the way, stop in Chicago for a Cubs game. You always told me you wanted to see Wrigley Field.
Dad.
I'm saying it. If you want it, if that's what you want, I'll do it.
Oh, I'd take your bar.
My bar. Jesus, my bar. They can take my bar to hell and back. You think my bar is more important to me than you, my only child? Give me the word and we'll go.
Honestly. And that's like, the more I watch this movie, the more like depressing it is. You know what I mean? Like,
because there's a finality to it that really...
Oh my God. Even just the friend dynamic, even just with their friends, and their friends trying to be strong for their buddy that's going away, and they're all kind of estranged, and they're doing their own thing, and then all of them kind of in their own way coming clean at some point during the night, like, you know, breaking down to him, especially the scene between him and Barry Pepper when they're overlooking the dance floor is like heartbreaking. I feel like that is like, because I've had versions of that conversation in my life. Not obviously not to that degree, but I've had versions of that conversation, and it's so raw.
He'll be a 38-year-old punked out ex-con with government-issued dentures.
38 is still young. Are you gonna get out? You and me, we're gonna start something up? You know, a fucking bar? I mean, we're two Irish kids from Brooklyn. Where the fuck would we be without a bar, right? How could we not have a bar? Come on, we have free hot dogs on Monday Night Football. You know, we got an old jukebox in the corner. You know, green beer on St. Patty's Day. Come on.
Green beer, Frank. You've been working 15 years to get away from green beer.
God, I hate this shit too. I'm just saying, we got options, right?
I appreciate the thought. I don't see it. 7 years, you're gonna be running your own show. I don't see you working with me.
We've known each other since we were 3. Have I ever broken a promise to you? Huh? Have I ever once broken a promise to you? Have I ever said I'm gonna be somewhere and not showing up? No, I'm gonna be there when you get out. You hear me? I'm gonna fucking be there.
Like, the whole movie is so raw, you know, just from frame one. It is this beautiful statement, this horrifically beautiful statement about consequence in life and the choices that you both that you make and that get made for you. And it's very heavy. I apologize. I'm like fucking on a soapbox, but
No, it is, and I think that it all is comes together in a line. And when Barry Pepper, when Francis is talking, by the way, this is Barry Pepper's finest performance as far as I'm concerned.
By a fucking country mile, dude.
Yeah, big time. When he's talking, when they're, you know, the backdrop is ground zero, and they're talking about when Monty's going to get out of jail, and Jacob, Philip Seymour Hoffman is saying, "Oh yeah, no, we're going to be there. We're going to go visit him, and then we're going to pick him up when he gets out, and blah blah blah." And you know, Barry Pepper responds with basically the thesis of the movie, which is like, "Do you think that we're just going to get a beer with him and like catch up and we're going to talk about what happened this week and blah blah blah?"
After tonight, it's bye-bye, Monty.
What does that mean?
Man, if he runs, he's gone. He ain't coming home. If he pulls the trigger, they close the casket. He's gone. They lock him away, he's gone. You'll never see him again.
I'll see him again.
You won't.
No, I'll visit him up there and I'll see him when he gets out.
Fuck with, you know what? This is such horseshit. This is so much like you, Jake. You're not gonna see him.
Like me?
Yeah, it's exactly. You'll never see him again. Well, you think you're gonna kick back with some beers, reminisce, old times? You're still gonna be friends? It's over after tonight, Jake. Wake the fuck up.
That whole bit that he does much better than I can recite right there.
But it's a beautiful parallel to the scene that Barry Pepper has with Montgomery, with Ed Norton, like that we were just talking about, because he falls victim to the delusion that Philip Seymour Hoffman is trying to hold on to this hope. And he also, when he is confronted with his friend, he also has that, you earnestly feel that, you want to be there. You know?
But in his most truthful moment there with Jacob,
Yeah, because he can be
says,
truthful with Jacob. Yeah.
Basically, he says, this is an irreversible thing. Like, Monty's going to jail, and the person that we know is no longer going to be there when he gets out.
Yeah.
The Monty that gets out of jail is going to be a completely different person. And he's probably going to be more like the Russian dude who went to jail 4 times since I was 14 years old.
The first time I went to prison, I was 14 years old. Skinny little boy. Very afraid. By the time I came out, I had a beard. I was a grown man. I went back to my hometown. I found my mother. I kissed her, and she screamed. She didn't recognize me.
Survive, which was another chilling moment in the movie.
Yeah.
But but Barry Pepper even goes on to even further on into that, because he's like, it's not just the end of him, it's the end of us.
Right.
Like, this is probably the last time we're really going to spend time together.
Right, because
we're not actually connected as friends anymore. Like, this is like a bonding agent, and that bonding agent is now gone.
Exactly, because now Jacob and Francis live in completely different worlds.
Even though they have great chemistry,
They don't like each other anymore. They've grown to not like each other anymore, and the glue that holds them together, when the very few times that they do see each other, is Monty. Yeah. And Monty tends to be this driving force in all these people's lives, like a person who changes their lives for the better. And he represents the sort of antithesis of the thesis of the movie, which is that there are forces in the world that can, they can irrevocably change people's lives for the better. Like when he saves Doyle, like when he basically puts, he starts dating Naturelle and putting her on a better path.
Mm-hmm.
When there's things about Monty that show that he has a caring nature about him. He wants to take care of the people around him, and that his circumstances are more about why he gets into what he gets into. But I think that he kind of shows that he kind of becomes this catalyst for the good change in people's lives. But the way he does it is in such a negative way that he sort of has to eat that karma by taking on that irreversible change himself by going to jail.
Yeah.
But Monty, like when I say that he takes care of the people around him, like he ends up doing it in very destructive ways. For example, his buddy who comes and sees him at the beginning of the movie.
I'm hungry. I woke up an hour ago. I was hungry.
Nothing I can do about that. Go up to 110th Street.
110th Street? Come on, man. I can't go up there. I mean, well,
Put that away. Put that away.
I'm not looking for a mercy pop or anything,
Done, Simon.
This morning, right, I was shaving, and I cut myself like 4 times, man. Come on, Monty, give me a break, man. I can't go up to Harlem. Look at me. The Yo's, they'll eat me alive up there, man.
I'm out of business, Simon. Okay, take your Jones somewhere else. Leave me alone.
Are you afraid that I'm not gonna knock you out? I mean, you know who I am. It's me.
You're not listening
Son.
to me. I got touched. Okay, I'm over. Game over.
5 years I've been coming to you, man. 5 years.
Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
And it's very out of place that this random junkie is coming to see Monty, this sort of mid-level dealer who's pushing keys and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought in this viewing, like, it's really out of place that he would come and see him there. But then I was reminded later in the movie, you see that same guy at the park a few years later when he's still in a business suit before he's become a junkie. Mm-hmm. And Monty is dealing to him as just like, I need some coke so I can go out with Patrick Bateman and everybody on the weekend and try to keep up with the Kardashians or whatever. What that says is that in the 4 or 5 years in between those two moments, even though Monty grew as a big dealer, he kept dealing the little nickel and dime bags to this little guy to make sure that he didn't have to go up to 110th Street and get it from the Yo's, as he puts it.
Yeah.
So it's like Monty. He when I say he takes care of people, he doesn't always do it in the most healthy way.
Yeah, because
And
he looks at that as a mercy, but really he also is not. It's a reminder of what he actually does.
yes, and the misery that this little, as much good as he does for his dad and for Naturelle, he's doing it off of the straight up misery of other people, as Francis says and points out. Hey,
Yeah.
Monty fucking deserves to go to jail. There's a lot of people out there whose lives are ruined or maybe ended because of what Monty does, and he's not wrong.
No, he's not. He's not. That's the thing. Like that's one of the great things about like casting, I guess, Edward Norton, because there's this innate trust as an audience that you have with him, and you kind of like him a little bit immediately, and it helps to kind of underline this notion of like him being this magnanimous personality, and it's because it can act as kind of a reveal in a sense of the story. It's just like, well, he's also kind of a bad dude in some way. It's like I guess what we were kind of before we started recording, we were talking about Breaking Bad. We were talking about Heisenberg, that character. That's kind of a similar thing. You hire somebody like Bryan Cranston, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, to engender something in you that's positive. And then you realize as you're watching that show that you like him still, but he's a real evil fucker.
Yeah.
He's not a good dude anymore.
Right.
But you still like him. And I think there's a little taste of that. And I think that's what the junkie is kind of there to do. Is kind of up front be like, yo, he's a drug dealer. Like he preys on the weakness of desperate people. And then when it's not convenient for him anymore, it's not like he was trying to be like help that guy out. He was just like, get the fuck out of here. Sorry, buddy. I'm done.
And they, those scenes are juxtaposed with him saving Doyle.
Yeah.
So the movie's always going back and forth between setting Monty up to be, the coke dealer with the heart of gold.
It's showing you the complicated. People are not a monolith, right? People are not one thing. They're not like their job. They're not their friendships. They're not their charitable sensibilities. People are very complicated. Monty's a very complicated dude.
Right.
And you get to see little pieces of his personality as the night goes on,
Yeah. And, character is really one of the things that Spike Lee does best. And, Monty is a very complicated character. That's why it's a great movie. Because all this character unraveling in front of you, it's not done with big exposition dumps or stuff. There's just the movie is just conversation after conversation.
Mm-hmm. Usually people sitting at tables. What's that?
I said it's a lot like Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yes. It's a lot of people like sitting at tables, talking, having intense conversations with each other.
And one of the most egregious scenes of unfinished steak that I've ever seen, when Monty sits down with his father and eats two pieces of steak and drinks a sip of beer and then gets up. I eternally want to reach through the screen and eat those mashed potatoes. You're wasting it, Monty. Your father paid for those mashed potatoes.
Exactly. I actually, I'm not even joking. I noticed that when I watched it the first time. I was like, oh, you didn't even need a steak, which is, I guess that's is that like dad mode? You're just like, there's food being wasted. I guess I have to eat it.
No, because I noticed that way before I was a dad. I think that's just like fat kid mode. Like, hey,
yeah, fair enough.
Food right there. Can I eat? Wait, are you giving me permission to eat that? Edward, can I eat steak?
Hey, Monty, do you cope with depression by stuffing your face with lots of food? Oh, you don't.
Oh,
well,
you
I
don't.
do. Do you mind? It's not every
one, and put this back on the grill. It's too rare.
Oh, what did you think of Philip Seymour Hoffman? Philip Seymour Hoffman is like, this is back in the time of his career where he would do great work thanklessly. He's so good you don't even notice how good he is.
Yeah, and I think that he just plays the perfect sex pest, doesn't he?
It's like but because I totally like. And then Anna Paquin plays the perfect, especially for people our age that were like getting out of high school at that time. She's the manic pixie dream girl with the henna tattoo and the belly button piercing. That is very much our generation's like crazy artsy chick,
Yeah.
Good.
And totally knows how to play all the cards. I mean, this girl, all the men around her are so stupid.
Well, even when she gets let into the club, like when she's trying to get into the club initially, she's with 3 other dudes.
Mr. Alinsky! Oh my god, what are you doing here? I didn't know that you ever left the school. I thought that you had like a bed down in the boiler room or something.
Yeah, they're all simping.
Yeah, she's not even there with like her friends or anything. She's like the ultimate opportunist. And we've all known that girl. Come on.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've known a few of them.
Look together.
Let's go.
You're looking after the dog, right?
You again? Yeah. Isn't it past your bedtime?
Oh no, I'm with Jake. We're lovers.
Lovers?
She's kidding.
Really? Well, I mean, come on in. There's plenty of room for lovers.
Well, I'm here with 3 friends. Can they come too?
Girls?
No?
Mary, please.
Are you out of your mind? You can't take a bunch of guys in. Let's go.
And it's a old female archetype. Old Marty Robbins wrote about Felina from El Paso.
Yeah.
And she knew how to treat all the men. She knows how to treat them and leave them. And this dude is just like ripe for the picking, and it's almost like fate. Like again, stars colliding, and there's nothing you can do about it. She just happened to be at that club that he happened to be getting dragged to. He would have never been there.
Yeah, he doesn't even drink, and he says that if he's like, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink anymore.
Yeah.
Barry Pepper's like, fucking no, hit him. We're drinking.
I want to pause the conversation and just say that I want to go out for a night on the town with Francis Xavier Slattery.
Right. I happen to be blessed with a very big dick.
Oh,
I just want to go out one night. I just want to go out one night with him.
It would be a blast, and it would. That's
But
like me going out with Big Paul. That's what that is. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm closer to Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah. Not into teenage girls, but yeah.
Now, dude, I hate to say it, but like this, the sexual tension built between those 2 characters is so, like, effective? You want to call it well done? Yeah, effective is the way. Yeah, you don't want to say well done. Effective is the word, because it is so creepy, their relationship. Her manipulating him and him being so uncomfortable but not being able to do anything about it because he's this weird beta male.
Well, because he's a guy who probably hasn't had sex in like 4 years.
Yes.
Like he's like, somebody's treating him like they're kind of coming on to him, but not, because she knows how to ride the line.
What did your mother say when you got that?
When I got what?
Yeah.
She said, where did you get the money for that?
Oh, and
And what did I say, or where did I get the money?
well, what did you say?
I said he likes me.
Oh. Does he?
No. Why do you care so much?
Just curious.
And it is a joy to watch Philip Seymour Hoffman squirm.
Yes, and all the little games she plays, like when he says something and she's like, what? And he like has to say it again. And
That's what I love about you, Alinsky.
What? What?
Huh?
What's what you love about me?
she knows how to make him look like even more of a fool, and he's already making himself look.
Yeah.
And he's digging himself a hole, and they have all those wonderful shots with those two characters when he does that, like the double dolly shot where they're just like floating through the club. Again, both of them going through this state of like irreversible change. Like, fuck it, I made out with my teacher. Fuck it, I made out with my student. Everything's on the line now. Everybody saw it. This is shit, you know.
Well, like it's an amazing moment. Like when they're in the bathroom or something, and when he actually kisses her, he gets the gumption because he's so drunk. He gets the gumption. He's like going upstairs because he thinks that maybe in his mind that she's kind of beckoning him up there, and they go in there and they have that moment. He just kisses her, and then the seconds after that, where he's just like realizes what he did. And he's like, and this is what we were talking about. That's his moment of like, I can't undo that. This is it for me. Right. I can't undo that, you know? And it is uncomfortable, but it's also like a great moment in the movie. It's indefensible, but back in 2002, listen, people, things were different, okay? We also saw the hero of our films skeezing on a high school girl too while he's selling drugs in the park, you know?
Hey. She was 18 when he was selling drugs in those parks that she was in.
That's what I say.
Yeah, but effective is the word, because it's so skeezy and it makes you feel so gross watching it. And both of these actors are just like,
it's weird.
Going 110 miles per hour.
It's weird because it's like it's skeezy and uncomfortable, but it's also in a weird way like you understand it, like you get it. Like, not in a way that, like, you would actually do anything about it, but, like, you understand this person's dilemma, or, like, the place that he's in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe
in that state of primal emotion, all of us have been there in that, like, teenage hormonal rage.
And that's where he is, like, socially.
That's where he still is developmentally, yeah.
Yeah.
So even though he is her teacher, he's basically acting like one of the awkward dudes that was trying to get into the club with her. And, you know, he wouldn't have gotten into the club unless he was there with Monty anyway. So
he's
one of those guys.
It's probably the most on-the-nose moments in the movie, especially when they introduce Philip Seymour Hoffman and Anna Paquin when they're in the class and she's reading from the book. And you just see him like squirming in his seat the whole time.
And she comes after class to get her grade checked on, and he's like,
he's trying to be a good teacher. He's trying to actually be a good teacher.
He's trying to be a good teacher. He's trying and failing to conceal his boner is what he's doing. He's got like his leg crossed awkwardly away from her.
Yeah.
He's like, tell me what you wanted to do about that was like those Quentin Tarantino and From Dusk Till Dawn moments where he thinks she's saying.
Oh yeah, I could totally do that for you. I could totally do that for you.
Richie, would you do me a favor and eat my pussy for me, please?
Oh, sure.
Hey, hey Richie, could you come over here and eat my pussy? Oh yeah, if you want me to.
That's basically what's going through Philip Seymour Hoffman's head that entire.
Well, but Philip Seymour Hoffman is so good because he seeds in all this physical acting, the physicality of his character, and
he's all punched up and tense.
Yeah, you like Philip Seymour Hoffman, R.I.P. Fucking amazing actor, and it's easy to. He's so good that you just don't even like recognize it most of the time. Like he's that good. I don't know if you've ever seen The Master.
No.
Oh my God. Oh, you got to see The Master, Dan. He's really Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman going head to head. Basically, a story about like Scientology. Basically,
the guy from the Joker.
Yeah. Oh, the Joker guy. Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, Joker.
Dude, that guy was crazy, guy. Like, did you see him on the stairs? Holy shit. No, but it's one of his last performances, also one of his best performances, is The Master.
You seem to know the answers to your questions. Why do you ask? I'm sorry you're unwilling to defend your beliefs in any kind of rational
Oh,
way.
if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask? Pig fuck!
And I would completely recommend that someday. But yeah, he's so fucking good. Another person who's also really great, who could be a contender for secret MVP, is Rosario Dawson.
Yes, yes, and she did look fantastic in that silver dress. But to this day, I still prefer her in Josie and the Pussycats.
Hey, listen, that's a great camp. That's a camp classic, as they call it. You know,
it is.
It is. It really is. It's because it's what Spice World wanted to be. That's what.
If Spice Girls had any fucking integrity whatsoever, it would have been something like Josie and the Pussycats. But did I just say that Josie and the Pussycats had integrity?
Yeah.
It was on scale relative to Spice World, so we're good.
Yeah.
But Philip Seymour Hoffman tried to suck Mark's dick. Wrong movie.
Yeah, wrong movie. I was just a fucking idiot.
Yes, that's. I was hoping I was thinking of the right scene.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking idiot! Oh, fucking idiot!
Yeah, Boogie Nights, baby. That's another Paul Thomas Anderson movie. The guy who directed The Master. So.
But yeah, man, Barry Pepper and his whole that character's whole world is something that is kind of abhorrent, and in a way, he's causing just as much misery as Monty is. But he's doing it in a legal way. And,
when you see how reckless he is in his introductory scene.
So I'm telling you, I got a theory. Look at this.
Oh, good. You've got a theory. Look, Frank, fuck you and your theory.
Oh,
You're
that's
in awfully
good.
deep
Nice.
here, Frank. You've got $60 million in the bank's money. Whoa, 100 fucking million? What are you two doing? You want to be part of the unemployment numbers? Get back to work.
Sal, you knew they raised my limit to 100.
A week ago. They just raised your limit a week ago.
What am I gonna
You're
do,
already
sit on it?
maxing out?
Is that what you want?
First of all, you're not going to raise your voice to me. That's first off. You cannot put me, you, or this firm in jeopardy by putting $100 million in one idea. Right or wrong? Come on.
Right or wrong, yeah.
Where he's supposed to sell something because it looks like the wind is going to change with the stock or whatever he's doing, and he doesn't. He goes against everybody. And it's supposed you could read it as a heroic moment, but it's really not. It's a really irresponsible moment where he's such a hot dog. He just got it all figured out, and he's gonna fucking just ride that wave, dude. With other people's money.
Yeah, the dumb fucking airbag who introduced me to this movie, who also introduced me to critical race legal theory, because she's a dumb fucking airbag, who claimed to be a socialist and a champion for the people, after viewing that scene, turned to me and said, "Doesn't that just make you want to work on Wall Street?" And I said, No, the fuck it doesn't. That scene makes me want to have a couple of beers and go to bed, because I don't want to even be
because that's who controls that's who controls our financial future in our country. Is Barry fucking Pepper in the 25th hour.
Coming in here, he's not even shaved. He's drinking his Red bullshit. Okay, that little interaction. I will say that scene is full of so many little zingers when he's talking to his boss and says, "Oh, 100 fucking million." He's doing that whole mega tight thing.
Yeah.
And then Barry Pepper says to the kid, one of my favorite lines in any movie, when he talks about
the shirt.
You know you're wearing a striped shirt with a striped tie. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do it for the ladies.
Oh, do the ladies ever tell you that you look like a fucking optical illusion? Yeah? Go away.
That whole number is one of the best. It's one of those movie lines that you could never pull off in real life.
No.
But the singer works there on screen, and everything in that scene is cool and it's so reactionary. Oh god, the markets are going.
But when you actually pay attention to it, you're like, this is fucking awful.
It's terrible.
Well, that scene is like a microcosm of Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street.
Sell a stock at $10,000. My commission is $5,000.
If you sell $10,000 worth of this stock, I will personally give you a blowjob for free. And I hope it happens.
Like that's what that like. It looks like. Oh my God, they're having so much fun. Everything's crazy. Drugs, women, stocks, blah blah blah.
What they're talking about is the unemployment numbers.
Yes,
they are making bets on how many people have jobs. They're speculating on that, and they're making fuck tons of money on whether or not the number goes a certain way. It is so fucking intangible and not real.
Barry Pepper wins because the number goes down.
Yes, I think the number goes down, but that's just the thing. Is like he's done something with like $100 million, and then the unemployment number goes down, so the $100 million. Like none of this shit makes any sense or is real. It is the Wall Street Illuvatar, as we talked about 1,000 RPM.
Yeah,
like it's alchemy. It's bullshit. They make up a bunch of like math, and then like money is supposed to be a store of value. But it's not anymore. It's just like a number that you multiply.
No, it's like they got together with the Parker brothers and made a game, and they said, "This is just how we do it. You play this game."
Yeah, and then money comes at us. So it's hate to bust the balls of the cryptocurrency kids out there, but it's the same thing. It's like the money's coming from nowhere, and eventually that has to come to some kind of head in reality.
Yeah,
the value has to be actually represented in reality somehow.
Yes,
and Jacob is right. Francis doesn't know how the world works outside of his office. He's got these stupid little pickup artists games that he talks about. He acts like he's Trex.
T-Rex. Hey, I'm Robbie.
Oh, what? Oh! Oh, shit, yo. I expected you to be normal size, Robbie. What the hell, man? You're micro machines.
Except he doesn't have a cod piece or like eye makeup. He just like is the Wall Street dude version of Trex.
I love like what puts him like in the 62nd percentile. He's like, well, I was blessed with a big penis.
Yeah, I have.
It's just genetics, dude. It's just genetics. I'm sorry. Like.
And he's eating his rice literally like my toddler eats rice.
Dude, that was my favorite part when Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, you eat like a fucking animal, like a child. What are you talking about?
Well, is their table manners an issue? Yeah, that silver thing to the left of your plate, that's called a fork. And when people eat rice, they use chopsticks or a fork. Grown people don't eat fried rice with their bare hands. You don't know how to behave.
You busting my balls in the way I eat?
You spend the whole week figuring out how to defraud foreign governments, whatever you do, and then you get out of there and you go out to the strange world outside your office called reality, and you don't know how to behave.
You can't even take you out to a restaurant. Like,
but they're both right about each other,
They are, exactly.
Francis is a narcissistic Wall Street hog, and Jacob is a rich Jewish kid from the Upper East Side who feels guilty about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they both have no fucking clue what actual reality is for regular people.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why they have such a hard time connecting with Montgomery on a real level.
Right.
Like it's all abstract. His lifestyle. That's why they're like, when Barry Pepper, I keep saying his real name. when Francis is like when he's talking about his car, he's like, how do you think he got that? We all fucking knew. We all knew. We didn't say anything. We didn't care because we didn't understand it. We don't get it. We're just like, oh, whatever, he's doing his thing. They're not actually good friends when you really start to think about it. They're only in the 25th hour. They've become kind of maybe the friends Monty needed before.
Yeah, I mean, you can see at this point in their friendship, they've all sort of, they were tight as a group in high school, and now they've all flowered into their own lives in adulthood, and they keep in touch in a almost a superficial way, but
well, because there's Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jacob has a line where he's just like, I don't even know why he invited me, and that's more than just like his insecurity. I think it might have been a while because he surprises him at school, like.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a while since they actually all hung out. Like it's probably been a few years.
Right. And so
but Montgomery's taking inventory of his life. Like he goes back to where he went to high school. He goes to look at his basketball trophy. He finds out that the record that he set got broken.
Look what a little punk I was. In the middle with the ball.
I guess you weren't the center.
No. I started though. Freshman year, I was on the varsity point guard.
Yeah?
No, still hold all-time assist record.
No, Marvin Ray broke the record last year.
He did not.
He did too.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I coached the girls' team.
Yes.
Like it's all part of that. It's all him like kind of trying to understand himself in a weird way. So that's why he pulls his friends from the past, because he's trying to recapture that feeling again for one last time. Like I just want to be who I was one more time.
Right.
Because like Francis says, he's not going to be the same dude when he comes out. That dude is gone after tonight. It's over. And I think, and Montgomery understands that in some sort of like primal, innate level. Like he just understands that about what is going to happen to him. One of the things I did actually hear, I listened to like this little 20-minute conversation, these two hoity-toity guys talking about 25th Hour, and they were so fixated on, they keep bringing up that he's going to be raped in prison. Why the obsession with that? I was like, really, fellas? like if you were staring that down, the reality of that being like a skinny white dude going to a place where people do fucking hard time. I could send those guys some YouTube videos. There's plenty of people, like, you ever listen to like ex-cons talk about prison?
Yes, I believe they call it gay for the stay.
Oh, but I was kind of doing it on Nightcap at one point, but I was like, this might be too much.
No, do it on Nightcap, please.
It was a guy that was just talking about like listening to new guys get raped and hearing their assholes ripped.
Bro ain't want to listen. He don't think it can happen to him. Man, you don't know about these booty warrior niggas, man? Fat story skinny. We out in the day room. The old head asked homie to move in the cell with him. Now me, and I can't remember who else. I think my big homie, I don't know. We go to him like, bro, listen, feeling scared, bro. Man, look, it's a lot of shit you could do, man, but this ain't it. Long story short, he was so scared and locked up and, just frozen that he moved in the cell with dude. Now, if anybody been to the penitentiary, y'all know when they hit them gates, we in a medium 3, so that thing get locked down. When they hit them doors, some people got TVs, some people don't, but it's pretty much quiet on the tier. If you go to your door, you pretty much gonna hear anything that's going on. If you stand at your door at the opening and just listen. Fat story skinny, man, you can hear when the actual rape took place. You can hear. And pardon me for the vulgarity, but you could actually hear homie asshole rip, right? And I'ma just tell you, like, I seen a lot of shit. I've been through a lot of shit. That was one of the worst things I ever seen, bro. Not even seen, but heard. Just been around, bro. That was heartbreaking. That was some heartbreaking shit. Like that shit. It's not like a fear. It's like, it's not fear. Cause at that point I wasn't worried. I wasn't too much worried. I mean, I was scared deep down. I'm a kid for real, man. Around all these, big ass, strong 30-year-olds. I'm a little kid for real, But I just had a disgust, man, for people that I never had before.
Because they were being raped so violently. He's like, that'll change your life. You're not the same. You're not the same even just hearing it.
Yeah.
So I guess I have all that stuff loaded in my brain from years of just like, you know, listening to people talk about that stuff for some reason. But like, you know, when people like were like when those guys were like dismissing that as like a very real, legitimate fear, like he literally has Francis beat the fuck out of him so it doesn't happen.
I need you to make me ugly. I can't go in there looking like this. I already told you. It's all about the first day. If they get one look at me looking like this, I'll be finished. Come on, this is, you said anything. You just said you'd do anything. This is what I need.
What are you thinking? Well, I'm gonna give you a black eye. Nobody's gonna mess with you.
I need a lot more than a black eye, pal.
You fucking help me out here?
I need you to really fuck me up.
Do it, you fucking pussy! Do it!
Right.
Or to try to stave it off. And they're like, oh, that's some weird homophobic stuff. I was like, you guys are so fucking privileged, dare I say. If you think that's out of touch.
Trying to shoehorn some social commentary in there or whatever.
Yeah. Imagine the idea that you're going to do hard time in a prison and you're concerned about being raped and somebody's saying, well, that's a little homophobic, buddy. Really?
Yeah, I mean, the multitude of things that Monty is going to have to do and see in jail is going to change him forever. And I think that normal people can't. Normal people are so adrift from actual traumatic experiences that they can't understand it. You know, like these people. I used to see it in Santa Fe all the time because the laws were more lax there. You know, people having like their stress pets come into the grocery store with them because they can't like be in public without their poodle or whatever.
Yeah.
And there are places in this world where terrible, unimaginable things happen to people, and they survive them and have to deal with the memory and the feeling and the smell and going back to that moment when a random sound happens or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, you know.
Well, that's what like. No, yeah, but that's what makes that scene when he's talking to Uncle Nikolai when he gets brought into the club and he's got the tattoo that says "survive." Like you start thinking about what is like. Oh shit! Like he just says you just do what you got to do, just fucking live through it. Just live through it. Do what you got to do and live through it.
Right.
Like it's a very like dark moment.
I was 14 when I first went the official. I tattooed "survive" on my hand the night before I went away to prison. And I did. We do what we have to do to survive.
You know, even beyond what happens after that, when you finally find out who outed Monty or who touched Monty, being his buddy, football player Tony Siragusa.
Great moment. That dude pulls off that moment. He makes you feel a like Smeagol-esque sort of pity for him in that moment. He's so pathetic and such a fucking cowardly piece of shit.
I have no choice! I have no choice, Monty!
Why?
Please!
Why? Why?
I have no choice.
You told me to trust this man. I trusted this man. Now I'm gone 7. Clean up your own fucking mess.
You kind of don't really want to see Monty shoot him. Well, you don't want to see Monty stoop to that level, but also he's just so miserable.
And they have the foresight to make you kind of like him.
Yeah.
Before that, like he's a funny dude. When he's talking to the girl who's walking past Monty's apartment.
Very nice, very nice. Hello, beautiful lady. Beautiful baby. You look like Halle Berry. They tell you this? Come back. I make you half black, half Russian, maybe.
He's like, anybody tell you look like Halle Berry? I give you half Russian, half black baby. Yeah. So like, and that's what the movie's really great at subverting your emotions. It's not really your expectations because you don't know how the story's going to play out, and it plays out very realistically and organically, but it subverts your emotions, like how you feel about all these people at one point or another. Like you're meant to question them a little bit. Like, what are they doing? Like Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is probably the most overt example because of like the idea of like, hitting on a teenager or being attracted to a teenager. Barry Pepper the same way. Even Naturelle herself. Like you don't question her. I don't know. When you ever watch this, did you ever think that she might have been the one?
No, because I think that would have been too easy of a path for Spike Lee to take.
Well, it would be cheap.
I just kind of know him better as a filmmaker. Like that would have not. He's obviously got something better up his sleeve than that, because that's the Naturelle is the distraction. Naturelle is the obvious choice. You know what I mean? It's the one that the movie sets you up, and it's the one that the cops are pointing to. So obviously you can't trust that because the fucking cops are telling it to you.
Yeah.
Audience, if you know anything about cops, they're always lying to you.
Don't talk to cops.
Yeah. So I never really got thrown on that trail. I mean, the movie is selling it to you the whole time, so it's either the obvious thing and there's going to be a big payoff, or it's a distraction.
It would be way too like melodramatic, honestly, and then it would undercut the actual like Francis's scene when he accuses her of doing it, because that's kind of his point of no return in a way in the movie. Like that's the thing that he does that he can't really step back from. He's ruined this connection with his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought that. I never thought that because I thought it would just be really cheesy. It would just be corny to do that in a weird way.
Yeah,
and
the truth of the matter is that I think Naturelle is a smart enough girl to know that if she drops the dime on Monty, they're not married, so she would have to testify against him. She would be an accomplice. They would RICO him out of the fucking apartment. They'd take all the money. She would, if she was the one who turned on him, she would have like stashed the money somewhere or something. It wasn't. Naturelle had no actual motivation to turn him in.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. And it's in her character's nature. It's like she is kind of the perfect girl for everybody. Like she's like the perfect girlfriend. She's like maternal and caring. Even her final moment with Monty is really like, it took me aback for a second.
I gotta go.
Wait 1 second, wait.
And she's just like, hold on. I'm just going to get you some ice in a fucking Ziploc bag for your face. Like, that's the last thing she does for him. Like, this caring moment. Because that's all she can do at that moment. You know? And like I said, like, before, like, I think Rosario Dawson, like, actually gives, like, a very good performance. Like, it's a very, dare I say, natural performance. Oh, I did it, guys. I did it.
Well, yeah,
Shit.
she's great. She's like butter. This is one of her better performances.
I mean, even the scene when they're in the tub right before they get busted, and she's got the Puerto Rican flag.
Yeah,
she just got that new tattoo, and he's like, "Oh, what should I get? An Irish flag on my ass?" Like, you've never even been there. You don't even.
Right.
It was great.
She didn't go there until she went there on Monty's drug money.
Shit. Maybe those DA guys were right.
Those two are. I wish there was a spin-off movie.
Yeah, see that movie.
Netflix series with just those dudes running around busting motherfuckers.
What? You thought she was with you for your looks? Shit. Girl saw a pot of honey and she licked it clean.
Yeah, she's a real smart girl. Now you, on the other hand,
you're supposed to be smart. Got yourself a scholarship to a fancy private school, Not bad for a punk from Bay Ridge.
Yeah, but then you go and get yourself thrown out for dealing weed to some rich kids. What up with that?
You know what happens to pretty boys like you in prison?
They gonna love you.
Yeah. That would be great, actually.
It'd be awesome.
Make Clockers too. Have you ever seen Clockers? They could be the Harvey Keitel, John Turturro team.
Yes.
Um,
But yeah, I took a remarkably few number of notes because, as I had told you, the DVD got stuck and it like wouldn't play. So I mean, I've seen the movie a million times, but I only took notes through about half the movie. So
well, I think we've covered most of it. It's for all of its nuance and complexities. It is very straightforward. Like it's kind of uncomplicated in a weird way.
no, it is, and I think that's one of the reasons why, as Spike Lee said, people sleep on in the 25th hour.
Yes,
because it is not, it is remarkably simple. It tells a nice, simple story. It's a small movie. It's a very small movie.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that, and it tells, it's yet another Spike Lee movie that tells a story within a tight 24 hours, and it delves into a razor focus on a few characters in this intense moment in their life.
Yeah.
And, it's, you have to do a little bit of the thinking when you watch this movie. You have to put in a little bit of the horsepower yourself, because otherwise it just kind of happens in front of you and you're like, oh, that was all right or whatever.
And that's probably what I thought when I was a teenager when I saw it. You're just like, oh, it was good. Good movie. Good performances.
You don't get the subtext. You don't get any of Brian Cox's his gut-wrenching performance. Every moment that he's on screen,
he's so
guilt in his eyes.
He's so real.
Yeah.
Because he's like such a guy, and that's what makes it like he's not like over dramatic. He's not weeping. He's actually acting like a real person.
Say goodbye here, Pop. You don't trust my drive? I can't do it this way. You just gotta let me walk away, Pop, please. It's easier. Yeah, easier? My God, you don't understand. Let me drive you there. I need to know where it is for visits, you know? Oh, okay, buddy? Help me out. Help me out? Okay. In the back. No hospital, Pop. No hospital.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is what a dad would actually be like. You know?
Part where they're having that conversation over the steaks, and he's just, he starts blaming himself. I mean, if a kid with a drunk for a father and a dead mother, and he's just like beating himself up, and then Monty goes away and he takes the hit off the beer like this. He's like hiding it from everybody as he takes the swig of beer.
Yeah.
I mean, and just the desperation in the final scene as he goes deeper and deeper into that fantasy.
Yeah.
And it keeps getting more and more unrealistic.
Yeah.
And it's just like everybody, oh, is that what really happened? Is that the actual story? It's like, dude, do you think that it fucking played out that way in fucking reality?
Well, it's like the same ending as Raising Arizona. Ever seen Raising Arizona?
No.
Oh, you've never seen Raising It with Nick Cage?
I hate Nicolas Cage with a passion.
Oh, come on now. You not even 90s Nicolas Cage? Like back in the day?
I'll give him The Rock.
Well, The Rock rocks.
Yeah.
No pun intended. It really does. That movie's fucking... That's a banger.
It's technically the last James Bond movie, but we won't go into that here.
Yeah.
Propaganda.
Interesting little factoid. You know who's originally going to be Montgomery?
Who?
Originally optioned this movie, still a producer on the movie.
Sean Connery.
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire, he decided to do Spider-Man instead.
Well, good fucking
which was the right move. It was the right choice.
Yeah, it definitely was. And then
can you imagine this with like baby face Tobey Maguire who still looks like he's 12?
No, I couldn't imagine it. It would have been a train wreck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it would not have been good. No. There's something I really like. Edward Norton seems like he could be a real prick, but actually, like for some reason, there's something about him. I'm like, I really like you, Ed Norton.
Yeah.
And he does, and he's one of these guys. He's like, I'll do one for them, I do 5 for me, because I'm going to make a shit ton of money doing the Hulk, and then I'm going to go do 10 indie movies. Like that's how he works, and I really respect that about him in a weird way.
Yeah.
He is like a consummate artist. I mean, the legends about Edward Norton go back to what is it, American History X, where he basically took the movie over from the director and then squeezed the director out of the editing bay when they were making that movie. So Edward Norton's actually the real director of American History X. Just so you know.
Yeah, and he couldn't play nice. He couldn't make himself a nice, cool $100 million and just play nice and stand on a fucking green screen with Robert Downey Jr. for 10 movies.
Yeah, actually, because he was the problem. That's why they replaced him. Because he was like, no, I want input on the script. He's like, I want to make this a good movie. And actually, there's a funny. He was part of the roast of Bruce Willis. And when he was up on the dais, he was just like, he's like, God forbid anybody try to make one of these like into an actual movie.
I tried to be like you. I did a big action movie called The Incredible Hulk. You know what went wrong? I wanted a better script. I thought maybe we should try to make one Marvel movie that was at least as good as the worst Chris Nolan movie, but what the hell was I thinking?
But yeah, he's great. I've always really loved Edward Norton, and I really respected when I read that he took like a lot of what he made from Red Dragon and actually put it into, like, he put his own money into this movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's a rare fucking... Even Spike Lee don't do that, dude. Spike Lee was on Kickstarter like 10 years ago trying to make a movie. Spike Lee could have made that movie. He had $2 million to make that movie, but he decided to go to Kickstarter.
Right.
What is it? He did a remake of a movie called The Sweet Blood of Jesus. It's like this African vampire movie from the 70s. And he remade it. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's part of during his dark period, you know?
No, it sounds like a total vanity project. It sounds like when I lived in Boston and decided to do a whole album of like Kitty Wells covers, like note for note. I spent like $3,000 on it. Because that's just where my mind was in my mid-20s.
Yeah. Hey, I've heard some of it. It's good, though. You did a good job.
Not too bad.
You did a good job.
Not too bad. But, yeah, I mean, 25th Hour has always been, since I watched it, it's always captured me as just being a great atmospheric movie in general with great performances. But as I've watched it throughout the years and gotten to know the sort of underlying subtext of everything and the depth of everything, I start to love it more and more. And these watchings that I've done the last couple of weeks, as a father and a true adult,
we're actually the age of these guys. Yes. We're about the same age they are in the movie. We're probably a little bit older. So like having that road behind you is like kind of really monumental to really be able to engage with the story in any serious way.
Yeah, actually, I was surprised. I believe they're like 31 or 32 because they say that when Monty gets out of jail, he's going to be like
38
or something like that. Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be a 38-year-old used up punk or something like that.
And when he said that, I was like, hey, yo, hold on, motherfucker. I'm going to be 37 in December. What the fuck are you trying to say?
Well, you're not going to have your teeth knocked out with a pipe so you can blow dudes all night.
That's hopefully true. I mean, I've only got about a year and a half, so hopefully that doesn't happen.
Still a lot of time for the universe to really come for me.
Yeah, exactly. But that took me back because I had seen this movie when I was younger, and I always thought of these characters as being older and more like travel and world worn than me. And then watching it in this one, I'm finally older than them. I'm like, oh, holy shit! Like, I'm an old man. I should start eating rice with a fork.
It's time. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a movie that is all about character, atmosphere. I really, honestly, like I said it a few times during this conversation, but I do think it is Spike Lee's, maybe his finest directorial hour, because it's so coherent. It's so coherent. And normally, you know, I've really grown to like Spike Lee's stuff because it is sloppy. Excuse me, I really like the messiness of his movies. It's actually part of like the texture of a Spike Lee movie to be a little messy, like, you know. And this is so tight. It kind of takes you kind of taken aback a little bit by it, and it's something that like now that I've rewatched it, like I really like. It was like I didn't know if I was gonna like want to rewatch it again, like in preparation, because it's like, oh, I watched it, I kind of had my ideas, I already had kind of, because it is kind of simple, and then I started watching it, and then I was just fucking locked in, like immediately. I was like, and it really hit me like how great it was, you know, because I haven't been watching it for years, you know. I came back to this, you know. And also, I think it helped because I've been watching Spike Lee movies since we did Do the Right Thing. I've just been watching Spike Lee movies, and to put it in his oeuvre, like his filmography, it really is like it's a shining little pearl. And even Spike Lee, like you said, he says it too. He's like, people sleep on the 25th hour.
The only parting words that I would have for somebody if they're going to watch the 25th hour, there's a deleted scene where they talk about the concept of sway that I think should have been somehow left in the movie if they could have.
You know, people think I was after the money. And I was, in a way. I mean, let's face it, money gets you nice things. I like Italian shoes and a fast car like anybody else, but I don't need them. It's not like I grew up poor. I wasn't chasing the money, I was chasing a feeling. What I hungered for was sway.
Sway helps make you money. And money helps make you sway. But sway is not money. This is sway.
Sway is walking into the import warehouse in Brooklyn. All the clothes from Europe straight off the boat, still wrapped in plastic. Gucci, Prada, YSL. You can pick out what you want because everybody knows your boyfriend and everyone owes him a favor.
Sway is walking to the best 5-star restaurant in the city without a reservation and being seated right away.
Sway? That's making a phone call in the morning and having courtside seats, Madison Square Garden, that evening. Lakers versus Knicks, Kobe and Shizak in his house.
Sway is entering a club through the staff entrance, so you can skip the line, the cover charge, and the metal detector.
Sway is locking eyes with an undercover cop on the subway. You know what he is and he knows what you are, and you wink at him. Because he drives a battered Buick and you drive a vintage muscle car and he cannot touch you. That, my friends, is sway.
Because it's such a brilliant little scene. It's only like 59 seconds long or something.
Yeah.
And I believe that scene kind of completes the movie, even though it's not in the movie. So if you check it out, check out the deleted scenes. It's particularly the one where all the different characters give their little take on the concept of sway.
Yeah, which is, if you know, for kids, that's nowadays we call it drip. Your drip, if you can believe that. We're just regressing into cavemen. But
I'm such a fan that I thought you were going to say swag, but that was like 15 years ago.
No, Dan, I reflexively was going to say swag, but then I remembered the new thing is called the drip.
Yeah, sometimes God bless my nephew. I'll see him post things on Instagram that I don't quite understand the language. It's some kind of pigeon. It's some kind of like hip hop pigeon. And I'm just an old white man. I'm just You know what? I'm just used to my Eurocentric language.
Oh, I thought like now I don't even bother anymore. I don't bother trying to understand it. I guess maybe I do a little bit like during nightcaps occasionally just to like be confused in front of people. But I really, it's just like the older you get, the less interest you have in it as well. You're just like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. I don't even. You know, like 10 years ago, I'd have been like, what does that mean? Oh, I got to find do the etymology of that. Let's look back to see where that comes from. Now I'm just like, I don't care.
Now I'm just like, is my seltzer water cold?
Honestly, getting older is kind of...
Again, I put it in the fridge 3 hours ago.
Getting old is kind of based. You just stop giving a fuck. You're just like, you guys are wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, Sigma male grind set. Get old as fuck and stop caring. Get too creaky and tired to care.
Yeah, exactly. Just give up. Just give up. But in terms of engaging with culture, just give up. Dude, I saw like 5 minutes. I know this is like side tangent. I saw like 5 minutes of that Space Jam movie. I thought my brain was, I turned it off because my son wanted to watch. He saw we were going to put something else on the TV, and we have HBO, and I was going to put on like, he likes these cartoons about this cartoon pigeon, not the same one that Dan was referencing. It's a pigeon that just learns basic life lessons. And he saw Space Jam, and he was like, "Oh, Dad, it's the thing. It's space. Like, oh, it's the guy. It's Bugs Bunny." I was like, "Okay, all right, fine. We'll put it on." Like 5-10 minutes in, I was like, "Son, this is not somewhere we're gonna go. Like, we're just not doing this. It's like a fucking corporate nightmare. It's a Warner Brothers nightmare. It makes the original Space Jam look like a good movie." And I watched 10 minutes of it. Like, it's a fucking nightmare, dude. They're just like, just references that kids don't. It's not even made for kids. It's made for people that grew up watching Space Jam and now that are like millennial film snob hipsters. That's who it's made for. It's not made for kids at all. Like the droogs from A Clockwork Orange are in the background of this fucking movie. Like, it's not for kids. Like, it's not. That's not the audience.
Fucking algorithm, dude.
Literally, this is the closest I've seen to a movie actually made by an algorithm. Like, what is popular? What do people recognize? Madness, dude. Madness. I don't know. I can't even get into it. It was so awful. I was just like, no. And he was fine with it too. And I was like, that's why you're my son, because you're fine with this. We're just stopping. We're just not going to do this. Let's watch RoboCop, son. Yeah, actually, we did. Actually, we put on the 25th hour. He loved it, Dan. He loved it. He loved it. He likes dogs, you know?
Yeah.
He likes voluptuous women.
He likes Russian mafia people beating each other to death in the back of a nightclub.
Yeah. He's like, Daddy, that's Halle Berry. I was like, no, that's just what the Russian guy said. Don't.
Daddy, why is that man being such a sex pest to that teenage girl?
He's like, well, son, sometimes things get out of hand.
Sometimes you make choices that you can't come back from. That's the theme of this movie.
And then I sat him down and I told him about 9/11. And I told him about foreign policy for 25 years leading up to it.
6-hour conversation about Donald Rumsfeld. It was like totally
I can see the video montage of the dissolves, like of me just like going like this and him sitting at a desk and just like pointing at a chalkboard, and I draw like WMD question mark.
Zero dark 30. But anyway, that's about what I have on the 25th hour. I'd recommend anybody watch it. I mean, it's one of my favorite crime movies. It's a movie that I go back to throughout the years, and I always kind of gauge things when I watch them again with a critical eye for the Zoobox Goes to the Movies. And does it get better to me? Does it get worse? And this movie only got better when I look at it with a critical eye. And I think that's the mark of the filmmaker. And like, I agree with you, Shaun. I really think this is Spike Lee at his absolute best.
Yeah, I totally agree. Definitely go check out the 25th hour, everybody, especially if you've never seen it. You're in for a real treat. Like, it's a great character study. It's a great atmospheric, melancholy, kind of a crime noir sense to it. I really loved it, and I'm so happy. Thank you, Dan, for recommending it, because I'm really happy that like it got brought back into my purview, because I kind of forgot about it, just like most people. You know, it wasn't something I thought about. And now it's like it's really like jumped into like one of my all-time favorite movies. But anyways, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you coming by, buddy.
Yeah, we finally went under 3 hours.
I know. Thank fucking God. My editing senses are like, oh, thank you, thank you. But anyways, if you'd like to know more about Zoobox, you want to hear about Zoobox stuff, there's a bunch of links in the description: Facebook, Instagram, my Twitter, all that kind of good stuff. Also, leave a comment if you've ever seen 25th Hour. Is this something that you revere? Something you hate? I'd like to hear a hater. I want to hear what a hater has to say about 25th Hour. And I'm just going to write One word. I'm just going to write wrong. Anyways, good night, everybody.